Welcome to my home studio. I'm here today to talk to you about watercolor pencil techniques. I have a lot of customers that come into my shop that want to play and make art with watercolor pencils, and they're very intimidated, and they shouldn't be. So I wanted to go over some of the basics with you. You may know the tips and tricks already. You may even have more. Share those around, the more the merrier. And we'll get started. I do have a couple little biases on watercolor pencils, and you might have some as well, and that's okay. I love the Derwent Inktense Graphitint, and I also really like the Faber-Castell pencils here. And I will show you down here the pencil sets. So these are the complete sets because I am that person that likes to have all of the pencils. If you aren't able to afford that, I do say, well, I certainly saved up for this, but buy the materials that you can afford and build up from there. But treat yourself, do the higher quality ones. So today I'm going to show you the Derwent Graphitint just briefly. These babies, this is the whole set. I call these my Oregon colors because they are a muted gray, like on the tin here. Move those out of the way. The Inktense by Derwent. There's 72 in their color collection here. And I also have one of my favorites of the regular pencils, of watercolor pencils, the Faber-Castell Durers. Each of these types of pencils, I would say, are water soluble. These are just tinted beautiful graphite with some color in them. These are unique because they act like an ink once they are activated with water, and their colors are more vibrant and intense than other pencils. Just briefly, a lot of quilters love to use these because you can add more detail and color to your fiber arts that way. But today we're going to be using the Faber-Castell Durer pencils, 120 in their collection, 3 rows. Ooh. I'm just going to pull them out so I can grab a couple colors today and work with them. In the not the comment section, but the description of the video, I have included some links to the document that I have in front of me. I am lucky in that I have a laser printer at home, so I took one of the visual journals of watercolor. It's not the best paper in the world, but it's amazing for beginners and just playing around. I like it that it's 140 pound, it's 9 by 12, it has a nice binding. One thing that I wish that it had was more cotton content. So I just ripped these out, and since these are almost 8.5 by 11, I just cut the strip bindings off and then ran them through the printer. I ran these through the laser printer so that when this gets wet it won't fade or smear. The inkjet printer will smear, so just be careful with that. You can also just use separate sheets of paper to do this activity, and then just mark off what you did on that sheet so that you have a reminder. So this is going to be a little bit similar to what I did yesterday. If you followed along with the colored pencil demo I gave, we're going to do pressure, shading, and gradient, and also getting the pencils wet. I have Dan here helping me today. Thank you very much. He's behind the scenes, and I will no longer need those other pencils today. Thank you, honey. So I'm going to pick a pencil. One of my amazing customers, Ed, he got this term somewhere, I don't know, but I'm going to blame him on this. Color drunk, picking a color that you really like and just keep using it. And I think this one is one of those for me, the light phthalo green on the Durer. So I'm going to scooch this down so you can see more of what I'm doing. And so this exercise here, it's important when you're doing art that you practice your hand in the various pressures. So today I'm going to do this whole value chart to show you and to demonstrate the pencil. So I really like this color right now. I'm digging the green. So I'm going to do this a little bit hard, and I apologize for the jiggling part of this. I'm trying to do a light hand that's heavy. And so I'm going to do this across this line here because I'm going to have two kind of demarcation lines. What I really love about watercolor pencils is that you don't have to use water with them. You can just use them as a regular pencil, and that's why I'm doing this pressure chart only with half activated with water. So this is the heaviest pressure, this is the lightest. I like to use this more as a value chart and leave this white, and then just do a really nice light rubbing across the paper. And you can see the texture in the paper here. This is a cold press paper, so it has a little bit of texture. So I'm going to kind of go up in between here and then do kind of a medium texture here. And this is a little sneak peek on how to make a value chart with other pencils that you kind of have to figure out on your own. At least I was left hanging in high school and college when my teacher told us to make a value chart, and there was a little bit of a secret to it. So I'm going to continue up with the light up to that medium point. I'm not going to be very technical because I'm not very technical. So if you're looking for total technical stuff, I can try and help you a little more, but today is just, I want to have fun with you and enjoy this process and give you some tips and tricks. And I know this might be mundane, but really practicing your hand and your heaviness really will help you in the long run on how much pigment you can end up putting down. So you can see here a little bit more of a gradation as we go along. Sorry for the jiggle camera. And then it goes here, and then we're going to just do a little bit darker here and fade into that gradation here. Now it may not look totally gradated because of the paper texture, but that's okay. We have a nice gradation right here. Ta-da! So this was the light phthalo green. Looks almost like one of those ponds where they did mining at. Anyway, so today I'm going to use a water brush. You can use a regular paintbrush, but I'm going to use the ease and the convenience of a water brush. This has water. This particular brand is Koi. It goes on lefty-tighty, so if it doesn't come off, twist it the other way and you're good. I generally store mine up like this so that nothing leaks out. And to clean the color off, you just give a gentle squeeze and do a circular motion on your paper towel. So here I want to activate the water solubleness of the pencil. Boop, boop, a doop. Like that. And then we're just going to kind of run this down the edge here. and you can see that the gradation becomes a little bit more apparent. See, I'm getting rid of that pigment as you go down. I kind of want to start back up over here because we only just use a little bit of pigment and I don't want to spoil what pigment we have down there. So voila, there we go. There's a little gradient chart. I recommend you do this for all of your pencils at some point in your life. You don't need to do it this big. And I'm going to do an example shading down this that's just one kind of pass. This is what I do with my colored charts, and pretty much I only do this. About that much. And then I just get, for watercolor pencils, I just get it, or water soluble, whatever you want to call them. I do both. You can call them both. You can just get one side of it wet because I want you to be able to see what it looks like not wet. You can also go in with your watercolor pencils later. I'll show you that with some techniques later. But add a little more pigment. So voila. So I kind of want to switch up the color here on the shadings just because it would be fun to use a darker color. How about Indanthrone Blue? So this is going to be pretty much the same as we did before on this chart here, and we're just going to do one kind of pass all the way down just so you can kind of have your hand moving at the same time. Oops, and I did this the wrong way, but that's okay. I'm right-handed, so that's why I did that on that side. So this is the dark. So I'm going to emulate this side, what I did here. Heavy, heavy, heavy pigment. Now this is a darker color, so it's going to have a lot more value looking to it. Then we'll lighten it up down here. And I'm kind of just doing this on one swoop and getting it darker as you go up. Ooh, look how pretty that is. Indanthrone Blue is beautiful. And I did go all the way down here and did a light touch there. So I'm going to go back in with the water brush. I cleaned the tip off. See, no colors there. Ooh. I'm going to do it on the correct side and feather down. I'm going to kind of go down here too. And look how beautiful this blends. And this is the mark of a high quality watercolor pencil. Look at that. Delicious. That's a 10. Okay, so I want to also talk about layering and color making too. So building colors with cross hatching and layer making is a really cool thing. So I'm going to grab a blue. We're going to do a Halo blue, reddish, and then I'm going to grab a green. Let's do a light green for here. So this is cross hatching. This is also used in drawing. And then this is just a way to mix and blend colors if you're working in an area. You don't even need to do it this big. You can do tiny little strokes. This is just for showcasing. And then when you whip them together, you get a whole new color. Ooh, look at that. And then you can feather it out. Beautiful. So those two colors are totally not what that is. So here's the blue by itself. Here's the green by itself. Ta-da! And then we're going to do a red and a green. So let's do, I'm going to do a pretty good leaf green here. And let's do a cool looking red. pulling this out of the, so let's a deep scarlet red. So this is a way to make darker colors using opposites. I'm going to kind of do the same thing here with this green, the red. And if you want to be technical, you can write down what colors you used. I'm not going to do that today. But ooh, see how that turns into mud? That's how you get mud. Although I should probably maybe add more green to make it more muddy, but it's still beautiful. And feather that out. And then here's the green, and here's the original red. And so this is a mimicking of what I did with the colored pencil. And to be honest, I haven't tried it with watercolor pencils, but I thought it would be kind of a neat thing to try. So we're going to do some bright colors here. Let's use some pinks, make it look like the 80s. And purple. And you can do whatever colors you want. And this is kind of a throwback to kindergarten. And then this is a way to remove pigment too if you put too much pigment down. We're gonna take this and scratch off the top. So you can do that to remove some pigment. You can also create texture this way too. And then let's see if we can scrape a little more. There, look at that. So we kind of got the first layer off. But don't get it wet, then it's going to turn kind of muddy. So that's just an example of getting that off. Boom. Okay. Ta-da! So we're going to move on to some basic pencil strokes here and keep it fun and easy for you. I'm a really big fan of Caput Mortem Violet. It's an interesting color. So I'm going to do the horizontal, and you can vary your pressure on here too if you wanted. So I'm just going to do a little bit dark. So this is just drawing with horizontal lines. And you can see their direction. Also going to do vertical. And we're just going to do this so that when we blend, you can see what happens. So there'll be potentially a little bit of a ghosting of the direction of your pencil strokes, especially if you do this on larger areas, but you can kind of fix that by doing little circular motions with the brush. See how I'm blending and mixing that there? But if not, let's get this a little more wet. You'll have lines underneath. There we go. And this is if you kind of blend it onto the paper. Personally, I'm a big fan of circular motions with putting on pigment because it blends better when you have the water, and it also blends better when you're drawing. So I just do little circles. You can do big, small, and you can do variant ones too. But I like this because it gives you more coverage, especially on this type of paper that has texture. because it's kind of getting all of the ridges and bumps. And then we'll go back in with the water. And I'm not scrubbing the brush while I'm doing this. I'm just picking up and moving it. So just be aware of how you're painting, because I don't want you to scrub it. Just pick it up and move it. There, doesn't that have a nicer looking blend than over there? More consistent color. There we go. And then back to hatching, which we did over with the layers and the color mixing. So let's do a yellow and a red. So this is a alizarin crimson and a light chrome yellow. So hatching, very similar to the horizontal and vertical, but just together. You can do it small strokes, long strokes. Smaller strokes can add some interesting dimension to your art too, so I recommend you experiment with that. Oops, I wasn't supposed to do that. Don't do that. That's for down here. Anyway, so there, woo! That blends together quite nice. Beautiful. Okay, now I'm going to do the cross hatching with the two colors. I'm going both directions with this, because my point is to do some mixing with this. Okay. And look. Put down the original colors too. Oh, did it backwards. I should pay attention a little bit more. I'm just too excited to be doing this. So I'm going to do this. It's a little bit too much water. Soak that up. Okay, and then you can see this made kind of an orangey red color. Ba-doop-doo. And then crosshatch. Let's do a color that you can see really well. This is blue violet. This is going to act kind of similar to the circular because you're able to get a lot of those ridges, but it can add some fun looking texture. Oh, beautiful. And that melts away. Look at that. Whew. Delicious. And that's a sign of a good quality pencil right there. So over here, I'm going to kind of show you again with the blue, green, and the red, building layers to make new colors. Here is Daft Blue. I'm doing a circular crosshatch. And then let's do kind of a fun green. So this is a dark phthalo green. I'm going to crosshatch those. And I'm going to give it a little bit of color, water, and see what happens. Beautiful. And these were the original colors. can't really see a lot of the green, but it's beautiful still. Very dark. And then for the red and orange, we're going to do dark red. And a hash of orange glaze. It's a nice color, actually. The original red and the original orange. Look at that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And now we're going to make mud again. So let's do that dark red. I'll make it deep looking. Oops, where'd that red go? There's the deep. And then this is the Chromium Green Opaque. It's going to be good. My mud isn't working quite as well as I had thought. That's okay. Okay. Boop boop a doop. There we go. Looks like I made a mistake on my worksheet, so I will fix that and re-upload them. But I'm not going to tell you where the mistake is. Okay, so this is doing the blending. So we're going to start with a red. We're going to pick out a red. We're going to do a red violet. A violet. Blue. And then we're going to do, what is this one? Blue violet. It's literally pick blue violet. And then we'll do the halo blue. So we're going to do the same shading technique that we did earlier with the shading and the pressure exercise. But we're going to use these pencils and do various widths. I do a circular motion. Let's see. Let's make sure you guys can see. I also like to go up inside of the other color that I was just at. It's okay to go outside the lines. I do all the time. There's the violet. Sorry for the bouncy camera. We'll try and be more light-handed. Okay. We're going to start blending. Ooh, didn't get enough of that red off, but that's okay. Just blend it in like that. Turn it around. Get that going. Clean off your brush in between so you can get those good colors and then blend it up. Like that. Voila! There you go. There's a really nice gradient blend between colors. There you go. Voila! So So I'll make those updates on the technique sheet. Sorry, I saw some errors. I'll fix that. And I will get you going all on that in the next couple hours. I'll fix that. And I hope you enjoyed yourself. Watercolor pencils do not need to be intimidating. They should be fun. And one thing that I like to do with watercolor pencils is draw out your art and design with just a regular graphite pencil really lightly. And Dan, F6 is not working.
Uh-oh.
There is... Okay, anyway. Technical errors. So I like to draw out with a pencil first, and then you can go back in with your pencil, do your shape, and then just do some feathering, and then you don't even need to color the whole entire shape. You can just go back in like this and pull that color that way. And then this is kind of a haloed look. But there you go. So you don't have to fill in everything. It's just supposed to be fun. You can also pick up color and move it too. You can do some scribbles on some plastic and get that going. I have a really unique sheet of paper at the shop that has a little bit of texture on it, but it's plastic-y so that it scrapes off the pigment, but it still allows you to pick it up with the water brush or your brush. So more on that later, and thank you very much for all your time and energy today.
Got some comments, you should check them.
And it looks like I have some comments which I cannot see from my viewpoint right now. Dan, would you be able to read them for me?
Yeah, Stephanie Sarles says, hi Joe, I didn't do anything with watercolor, but I have some watercolor pencils, so I figured I'd sit in.
Very cool. So Stephanie Sarles just said that she doesn't
She
really...
has some watercolor pencils and she was sitting in.
Oh, cool. That she's sitting in and playing along. So I hope that you're enjoying yourself and you learn some things. There's nothing really wrong you can do with your pencils. The only thing that I would say is wrong and not best practice is to snap them. Don't throw them on the ground. You want to take care of your tools, and also, you know, share them with other people too, because you never know. Somebody may not think that they have the skills or the desire to draw and paint, and using watercolor pencils is an accessible route for people because you don't need to carry around tubes. You can just carry around even just the primary colors of pencils, and then you can kind of build up from there. So thank you very much for joining me today, and if you ever have any questions or concerns, please...
And Fred Gunderpants says you're rocking it.
Oh, and Fred Gunderpants says I'm rocking it. Thank you very much. Did you hear my color drunk reference? I hope you did.
He did. He says better color drunk than just drunk.
He says better color drunk than just drunk. Yes, I agree. So, yeah, there's something about that weird green, and I'm not even a green person. So, yeah, if you ever have any questions, always feel free to come into my shop. Send me an email, BeauxArts, F as in Frank, A as in alphabet or art, M as in Mary @gmail.com. So BeauxArts Fam, Fine Art Materials, abbreviated, at Gmail. You can call me at 541-991-8213. That's 541-991-8213. Or you can see me in my shop as soon as this COVID-19 stuff has blown over.
Or you could ask on the live stream.
Or ask on a live stream. Why not? So thank you again. Make some art. I'm posting some additional different types of worksheets. Also on the 30th is the National Scribble Day. So get out and scribble, do some of that. Scribbling is accessible for anybody, and I would hope that you take advantage of that. More information on that is on my Facebook event link page.